Velthar stared at his sensor screen and blinked all three of his eyes. Something was wrong. Very wrong. The monitoring station hung in the darkness of space far from any star system. This was the edge of the great Crithian Empire, a border that had stood unbroken for 3,000 years. Velthar had worked this station for 12 cycles, and nothing interesting ever happened here. Pirates knew better than to test Crithian space. Traders followed the approved routes. Everything was orderly, as it should be, but now his screen showed something that made no sense. "Commander Kixthor," Velthar called out, his voice shaking slightly. "I have an unknown contact." Kixthor looked up from his command chair. The old commander had seen many years of service, and his scales had turned a deep bronze with age. "Unknown? Check your sensors, Velthar. Probably just a merchant ship with a broken transponder." "No, sir. I have checked 3 times. This is not in our database." "Not any database." Velthar's claws tapped nervously on his console. "And, Commander, it is big." That got Kixthor's attention. He stood and walked over to Velthar's station, his heavy footsteps echoing in the quiet room. The monitoring station only had a crew of 30. Most of them were sleeping or eating. Nothing ever happened out here. Kixthor looked at the screen and went very still. The energy signature was massive. Velthar had not been exaggerating. The contact was showing up as larger than a Crithian heavy dreadnought. Much larger, and the energy readings made no sense at all. "That cannot be right," Kixthor said quietly. "No ship produces that much energy. It would tear itself apart." "I know, sir, but the sensors are working perfectly. I have run every diagnostic. The readings are accurate." Kixthor leaned closer to the screen. The unknown ship was moving steadily through space, heading directly into Crithian territory. It was not hiding. It was not trying to be quiet. It simply moved forward like it owned the entire galaxy. "Distance?" Kixthor asked. 40 million kilometers in closing. "Speed is steady. Not fast, not slow. Just constant. Scan it. Full active sensors. I want to know what this thing is." Velthar's claws flew across his controls. He directed the station's powerful scanners at the contact and waited for the results. When they came back, he felt his blood turn cold. "Sir, the hull composition is unknown. The metal readings do not match anything in our records. The density is impossible. Nothing should be that dense and still be able to move." Kixthor grabbed the edge of the console. In 3,000 years, the Crithian Empire had encountered 57 different species. They had defeated them all. Some had surrendered quickly. Others had fought. None had lasted long against Crithian military power. The Empire knew every type of ship, every weapon, every technology in this entire sector of space, but not this. "Weapons?" Kixthor demanded. "I cannot get clear readings, sir. There are multiple hardpoints, but they are different. Not plasma cannons, not missile tubes. I do not know what they are." "Communication frequencies?" "Nothing, sir. The ship is not broadcasting anything. It is just coming." Kixthor made a decision. "Battle alert. Wake everyone. Send an emergency transmission to the Imperial Fleet. Code Level 1. Unknown hostile entering Crithian space." Velthar's eyes went wide. Code Level 1 meant potential invasion. It meant war. In 12 cycles, Velthar had never seen a Code Level 1 alert. "Yes, sir," Velthar said, and his claws hit the emergency broadcast button. Alarms screamed through the station. Red lights flashed. Crew members stumbled out of their quarters, some still half asleep, others looking confused. Within 2 minutes, every station on the monitoring post was manned. "Report," Kixthor commanded. "Contact still approaching," Velthar said. "Distance now 38 million kilometers. Speed unchanged." "Defensive systems online," called out another operator. "Shields at maximum," reported a third. Kixthor paced back and forth. His mind raced through possibilities. Could this be a new species? But new species were always weaker than the Empire. They used primitive weapons and slow ships. This thing was anything but primitive. Could it be one of the defeated races building some kind of superweapon? Impossible. The Empire watched all of them closely. None had the technology or resources for something like this. Could it be from outside their sector? From the deep unknown regions of space where no Crithian had ever traveled? "Sir," Velthar said suddenly, "I am picking up something else." "Database reference. Very old files." "What files?" "From the frontier colonies. Reports from traders and explorers. There were stories about a new species. The reports were filed but never investigated. The stories seemed like myths. What species? Kixthor demanded. Velthar pulled up the old reports. They were called humans, sir. Deathworlders. The reports said they came from a planet that would kill most civilized species. Heavy gravity, toxic atmosphere, predators everywhere. Kixthor laughed, but it was a nervous sound. Fairy tales. Deathworlders are legends to scare children. Yes, sir, but the energy signature matches some of the descriptions in these reports. High-density materials, massive power generation, unknown weapon systems. The color drained from Kixthor's face. He had heard the stories too, long ago. Every Crithian child heard about Deathworlders, species so dangerous they could never exist in reality. Species that evolved in hell and came to space with the fury of their brutal home planets. Continue monitoring, Kixthor said, and pray to the ancestors that those stories are just stories. But even as he said it, he knew the truth. The unknown ship continued its steady approach, and Velthar's sensors showed no hesitation, no uncertainty. Whatever was piloting that vessel had no fear of the mighty Crithian Empire. 30 minutes passed. The ship came closer. Kixthor sent 3 more emergency transmissions to the Imperial fleet, each one more desperate than the last. Sir, Velthar said, I am getting more detailed scans now. The ship is 15 kilometers long. It has armor plating 3 meters thick. The power core is generating energy equivalent to a small star. That is impossible. Yes, sir, it is impossible. But it is real. Another operator called out. Sir, the Imperial fleet is responding. Admiral Zormoth is mobilizing 47 warships. They will arrive in 6 hours. 6 hours. Kixthor looked at the approaching ship. In 6 hours it would be much closer. Maybe close enough to attack the station. Velthar, Kixthor said quietly. If that ship attacks us, how long will our shields last? Velthar did not answer immediately. He ran calculations on his screen. When he looked up, his 3 eyes were filled with fear. Against weapons of that potential power, Commander? Perhaps 30 seconds. Perhaps less, Kixthor nodded slowly. He looked around at his crew. 30 Crithians operating a small monitoring station that had never seen combat. If the unknown ship was hostile, they would die quickly. Keep scanning, Kixthor said. Record everything. If we die here today, at least the Empire will know what killed us. The unknown ship continued forward, steady and unstoppable, like a force of nature heading straight for the heart of Crithian space, and somewhere on that ship, beings called humans made ready for whatever came next. Captain Hunsiok stood on the bridge of the UESN Indomitable and watched the stars streak past on the main view screen. The ship hummed with power beneath his feet, a constant reminder of the incredible machine he commanded. After 2 years as captain, he still felt a sense of awe every time he walked onto the bridge. The Indomitable was humanity's newest warship, fresh from the orbital shipyards above Mars. She was a monster of engineering, 15 kilometers of compressed alloy and cutting-edge technology. Every system had been tested and retested. She was ready for anything. Or so the designers claimed. Captain, First Officer Jiwoo said from her station to his right. We are approaching Crithian border space. ETA to the border monitoring station, 32 minutes. Thank you, Jiwoo. Hyunseok looked at the tactical display. Somewhere ahead, the Dalveen refugees were running for their lives. Over 4 million beings crammed into ships that were barely functional, fleeing the Crithian Empire's military forces. The Dalveen had committed a terrible crime, according to the Crithians. They had refused to surrender their homeworld. They had said no to the mighty empire. For that, the Crithians had decided to exterminate them all. When Earth received the Dalveen's distress call, there had been debate. Some human governments wanted to stay neutral. The Crithian Empire was vast and powerful. Making them angry seemed foolish. But other voices had spoken louder. Voices that remembered Earth's own history of genocide and oppression. Voices that said humanity had to be better than their past. Voices that demanded action. The vote had been close, but action had won. And the UESN Indomitable had been dispatched to find the refugees and bring them to safety. Sir, Tactical Officer Daeho called out. We have been detected. Crithian border station is painting us with active sensors. Expected, Hyunsuk said calmly. Let them look. We are not trying to hide. Daeho was young for his position, barely 28. but he was brilliant. He understood weapons and tactics like some people understood music. His fingers danced across his console, monitoring every sensor reading. "They are running deep scans, sir. Very thorough. They seem confused." Hyun-suk smiled slightly. He could imagine the panic on that border station. Humanity had only revealed themselves to the galaxy 40 years ago. Most species still did not understand what humans really were. Earth was classified as a Class 12 death world. Only 3 other planets in known space had that classification. Class 12 meant the planet was actively hostile to life. High gravity that would crush most spacefaring species. An atmosphere rich in oxygen, which most aliens found corrosive. Weather that could kill in minutes. Predators that hunted with terrifying efficiency. Humans had evolved in that hell. They had been shaped by it, hardened by it. When humanity finally reached space, they had brought that strength with them. "Navigation status?" Hyun-seok asked. Navigation Officer Tae-yang looked up from his console. "On course, sir. Current speed 0.4 sublight. We will cross into Krithian space in 28 minutes. "Very good." Captain, Ji-woo said. "The Krithian station is broadcasting emergency signals. High priority. They are calling for military support." "How fast can their fleet respond?" "Intelligence estimates 4 to 6 hours for a significant force to arrive." Hyun-seok nodded. "Then we have time. Maintain course and speed." A door opened and Chief Engineer Bo-ram entered the bridge. She was small, even for a human, but she carried herself with absolute confidence. The Indomitable was her baby. She had overseen every aspect of the ship's construction, and she knew the vessel better than anyone. "Captain," Bo-ram said, "I thought you should know. The quantum fusion core is performing perfectly. Better than perfectly, actually. We are getting 0.3% more efficiency than the simulations predicted." "That is good news, Bo-ram." "It is excellent news. At current power consumption, we can maintain full combat operations for 6 weeks without refueling. And that is with shields, weapons, and all systems at maximum." Hyun-seok raised an eyebrow. 6 weeks. The design specification was 3 weeks. Bo-ram grinned. "I told the designers their calculations were conservative. They did not believe me. I was right. You usually are. Always, Captain. Always." Ji-woo cleared her throat. "Captain, I recommend we send a message. Let the Krithians know our intentions. It might prevent unnecessary bloodshed." Hyun-seok considered this. Ji-woo was right, of course, she usually was. That was why she was his first officer. She thought 3 steps ahead and always considered the peaceful option first. "Agreed," Hyun-seok said. "Communications. Prepare a broadcast. All known Krithian frequencies. All major galactic languages." The communications officer began working immediately. "Ready, sir." "Record this." Hyun-seok stood, straightening his uniform. He wanted to look official for what came next. "This is Captain Hyun-suk of the United Earth Space Navy Warship Indomitable. We are responding to a distress call from the Dalveen refugee fleet. Our mission is humanitarian. We are here to escort the refugees to neutral space. We have no hostile intentions toward the Krithian Empire. However, we will not be turned back. Stand aside or be removed. This is your only warning." "Message recorded, sir." "Broadcast it. All frequencies." "Broadcasting now." The message went out into space, traveling at light speed. In a few minutes, the Krithian border station would receive it. Shortly after, the incoming Krithian fleet would hear it too. Dae-ho laughed quietly at his station. "Sir, that message is going to make them very angry." "Probably," Hyun-seok agreed. "But it is honest, and it gives them a choice." "Do you think they will take it?" "No. The Krithians have ruled this sector for 3,000 years. They are not used to being told what to do." Ji-woo leaned back in her chair. "Then we are probably going to have to fight them." "Yes. 47 ships, according to intelligence, including 8 heavy dreadnoughts. I read the same reports. Captain, I know we have run every simulation. I know the Indomitable is the most advanced warship humanity has ever built. but 47 against 1. Hyun Seok looked at his first officer. Jiwoo, what did you do before you joined the Navy? I was a teacher, sir. Mathematics. And if you gave your students a math problem and they complained it was too hard, what did you tell them? I told them to show their work and solve it step by step. Exactly. The Krithians think this is simple math. 47 ships against 1 ship equals easy victory. But they are using old math. They do not understand the new variables. Boram spoke up from where she leaned against a console. The new variable being that humans are crazy? The new variable being that humans do not build anything small, Hyun-suk corrected. We go big or we go home. The Indomitable has more firepower than most planetary defense fleets. She has armor that can shrug off nuclear weapons. She has shields powered by a quantum fusion reactor that should not even be possible according to most species physics. And she has us, Daeho added. And she has us, Hyun-seok agreed. A crew trained in Earth's gravity. A crew that evolved to be hunters. A crew that comes from a planet where everything tried to kill us. And we survived anyway. The bridge was quiet for a moment. Every human on board knew their history. They knew Earth had been hard. Life had been a struggle from the first day humans existed, and that struggle had made them strong in ways most peaceful species could never understand. All stations, battle readiness check. Jiwoo called out. Reports came in from all over the ship. Weapons ready, shields ready, medical prepared, engineering at full power, marines standing by. Every department reported green. Ship is ready for combat, Captain, Jiwoo said. Then let us go save some refugees, Hyun-seok said, and show the Krithian Empire what happens when they pick on someone who has friends. The Indomitable crossed into Krithian space, unstoppable and unafraid. Fleet Admiral Zormoth watched the tactical display and felt something he had not experienced in 30 years of military service. Real, genuine fear. His flagship, the Eternal Glory, hung in space surrounded by 46 other Krithian warships. 8 heavy dreadnoughts, 15 cruisers, 24 destroyers. It was enough firepower to conquer a small empire. He had personally commanded fleets that had brought entire civilizations to their knees. But the human ship made all of that feel insignificant. Admiral, Intelligence Officer Kyle Rax said quietly, "You should see this report." Zormoth turned away from the display. Kyle Rax was old and scarred, a veteran who had survived dozens of battles. The intelligence officer had access to information most Krithians never saw. If Kyle Rax looked worried, that was bad. "What have you found?" Zormoth asked. Kyle Rax brought up a holographic display. I dug into the old colonial reports, the ones about humans. "Admiral, the stories are real, all of them." "Explain." Humans evolved on a planet called Earth. Classification: Class 12, Death World. The planet has gravity 1.01 times galactic standard. That is crushing force to most species. Krithians would struggle to walk there. Many species could not survive at all. Zormoth's scales prickled. "Continue." The atmosphere is 21% oxygen. That is highly corrosive. Most species would suffer tissue damage within hours. Humans breathe it naturally. Their entire biology is built around it. They use oxygen to generate energy in ways that would be toxic to us. What else? The planet has extreme weather. Temperature ranges from freezing to boiling. Storms that can destroy cities. Natural disasters constantly. And the predators, Kyle Rax paused. "Admiral, Earth has more predator species than most planets have total life forms. Humans evolved being hunted by creatures that could kill them in seconds. How did they survive? They became apex predators themselves. Humans hunt, Admiral. It is built into their nature. They organized into packs. They used tools and weapons. They were so effective that they drove dozens of predator species to extinction, not by accident, on purpose." Zormoth was quiet for a long moment. "And now they are in space." "Yes, Admiral. They achieved spaceflight 80 years ago. In that time, they have advanced at a rate that should be impossible. Most species take thousands of years to develop the technology we are seeing on that ship. Humans did it in less than a century. How?" Kilrax brought up another display. "Because they never stopped being predators, Admiral. Human society is built on competition. They fight each other constantly. Wars, economic battles, scientific races. Everything is a competition to them. That competition drives innovation faster than anything we have ever seen. Another officer called out. Admiral, we have received a transmission from the human vessel. Play it. Captain Hyunseok's voice filled the bridge. The message was clear and direct. No hostile intentions. Humanitarian mission. Stand aside or be removed. The bridge went silent. Stand aside or be removed, Zormoth repeated slowly. One ship. They have one ship and they dare give us orders. Admiral, Kylrak said carefully. I recommend we consider the option of standing aside. Zormoth spun to face him. You want us to surrender? To flee from a single enemy ship? Do you understand what that would do to the Empire's reputation? Every species we have conquered would see weakness. There would be rebellions across 100 worlds. Better than being destroyed, Admiral? Destroyed? By one ship? Zormoth laughed, but it sounded forced. We have 47 warships. 8 dreadnoughts. We outgun them by any measure. Do we, Admiral? Kylrax brought up the sensor data. Look at their power readings. That ship generates more energy than our entire fleet combined. Look at their armor. Compressed alloy 3 meters thick. Our plasma cannons might not even scratch it. Look at their weapon hardpoints. We do not know what they are, but if human advancement in other areas is any indication... Enough, Zormoth said. I will not retreat without firing a single shot. We are the Krithian Empire. We have ruled this sector for 3,000 years. We will not be frightened away by Deathworlder stories and impressive sensor readings. Zormoth turned to his tactical officer. Form battle formation. Standard intimidation pattern. We will show these humans what Krithian military power looks like. The fleet began to move. 47 ships arranging themselves into a massive wall of metal and weapons. It was a formation designed to terrify enemies into surrender. Every species that had seen it had backed down immediately. The human ship did not even slow down. Weapons range in 3 minutes, the tactical officer reported. Send them a demand, Zormoth ordered. Full surrender. They will stand down, shut down their weapons and allow us to board their vessel, or we will destroy them. The message was transmitted. The response came back within seconds, one word, simple and clear. No, Zormoth felt his anger rising. They dare refuse? Admiral, the tactical officer said. The human ship is not changing course. Not adjusting speed. They are acting like we are not even here. Then we will make them notice us. Send 3 destroyers forward. Fire warning shots. Close enough to shake their hull but not hit them. Show them we are serious. 3 Krithian destroyers broke formation. They accelerated toward the human ship, weapons charging. When they reached optimal range, they fired. Plasma cannons lit up space with brilliant green light. The shots never reached the human ship. What happened? Zormoth demanded. The tactical officer stared at his screen. Point defense systems, Admiral. The human ship has automated defensive weapons. They detected our shots and destroyed them. The plasma never got within 1,000 kilometers. How fast were those systems? Too fast to measure accurately. Faster than anything in our database. Zormoth felt the fear growing stronger. How much power did they use? Scanning now. Admiral, their power levels barely changed. Whatever they used to destroy those shots, it was effortless for them. Kylrak spoke up again. Admiral, this is our warning. They just showed us they can defend themselves without effort. We should withdraw. And tell the Emperor we ran from a single ship? Zormoth shook his head. Never. All ships prepare for full assault. Target their engines. If we cannot destroy them, we will cripple them. Admiral, I must protest. Your protest is noted, Kylrax. All ships fire when ready. The Krithian fleet opened fire. 47 warships unleashed their weapons at once. Plasma cannons, missile batteries, particle beams. It was enough destruction to crack the crust of a planet. Enough firepower to vaporize a city in seconds. The human ship's shields flared brilliant blue. They held. Damage report on the enemy vessel? Zormoth asked. The tactical officer checked his sensors. When he spoke, his voice was shaking. No damage, Admiral. Their shields absorbed everything. Shield strength appears to be at 96%. 96%? After a full fleet bombardment? Yes, Admiral. Zormoth looked at the tactical display. The human ship still had not changed course. Still had not slowed down. It simply continued forward like their attack had been nothing more than rain hitting a mountain. What are they doing now? Zormoth asked. Scanning. Admiral, their weapons are powering up. All of them? No, sir. Only a few. Their railgun batteries and point defense lasers. Kylrax looked up sharply. Only a few? Admiral, they are showing restraint. They could hit us with everything, but they are choosing not to. Then they are foolish, Zormoth said. Press the attack. All ships continue firing. But even as he gave the order, Zormoth watched the human ship begin to fight back. And somewhere deep inside, he knew Kylrax was right. The humans were showing restraint, which meant they had power to spare, which meant the Crithian fleet was already lost. The bridge of the Indomitable stayed calm despite the massive firepower hammering against their shields. Warning lights flashed, but there was no panic. The crew moved with practiced efficiency, each person focused on their job. Shields holding at 96%, Deho reported. Enemy weapons are less effective than projected, Captain. Yun-Seok nodded. The Crithian plasma weapons were impressive by galactic standards. Any other species would be vapor by now. But human engineering had advanced beyond what most aliens could understand. The Indomitable's shields were layered energy fields powered by a quantum fusion core. Breaking them would require power the Crithians simply did not have. They continue to fire, sir, Jiwoo said. 47 ships, full bombardment. They are committed now, Hyun-Seok said. Pride will not let them back down. Tactical prepare firing solutions. Railgun batteries only. Target their weapon systems. I want them disabled, not destroyed. Disabled, sir. Deho looked up from his console. That will require precision shots. It would be easier to simply destroy them. Easier is not better. We are not here to kill Crithians. We are here to rescue refugees. Disable their weapons so they cannot threaten us, but leave their life support and engines intact. Yes, sir. Calculating firing solutions now. Deho's fingers flew across his controls. Sir, this is beautiful. The targeting computer is compensating for their movement patterns. I have solutions on 32 primary targets. Confidence level 98%. Fire when ready. The Indomitable's railgun batteries opened up. These were not energy weapons. They were pure kinetic force. Magnetic accelerators launched tungsten rods at 30% of light speed. Each rod was only a few kilograms, but at that velocity, they hit with the force of nuclear weapons. The difference was precision. Energy weapons spread out over distance, losing focus and power. But solid projectiles just kept going until they hit something. 6 Crithian ships died in 2 seconds. Direct hits, Deho reported. Enemy destroyers have lost all forward weapons. Their targeting systems are offline, life support intact, engines functional. They are combat ineffective but still alive. Jiwoo pulled up damage reports on her screen. Casualties on those ships? Minimal, sir. The tungsten rods punched through their weapon systems only. We avoided crew compartments. Best estimate is fewer than 50 casualties across all 6 ships, Hyun-Seok nodded. 50 deaths was still tragic, but it was far better than the thousands who would have died if the Indomitable had used its full weapons. Continue defensive fire. Point defense only. Destroy any missiles or shots that get close. The bridge filled with the quiet hum of the point defense lasers. Automated systems tracked incoming fire and eliminated it before it could threaten the ship. Missiles exploded thousands of kilometers away. Plasma shots were vaporized. Particle beams were dispersed. Sir? Boram called from the engineering station. Current power consumption is 14%. All systems nominal. The quantum core is running cool. We could maintain this level of combat for weeks. Good to know, Boram. Thank you. On the main view screen, the Crithian fleet was pulling back slightly. Their formation was breaking. Ships that had been confident minutes ago were now showing uncertainty. They are learning, Jiwoo observed. 6 ships disabled in seconds. They realize they cannot hurt us. Sir, the Crithian dreadnoughts are moving, Deho said. 8 heavy ships breaking formation. They are accelerating toward us. Hyun-Seok studied the tactical display. The dreadnoughts were massive ships, easily 3 times the size of the destroyers. They had heavier armor, stronger weapons, more powerful engines. In any normal battle, they would be devastating. But this was not a normal battle. What are they doing? Jiwoo asked. Ramming, Hyun-Seok said quietly. They cannot hurt us with weapons, so they are going to try to ram us. Hit us with their mass and hope to cause damage through impact. That is suicide. That is desperation. Hyun-Seok watched the dreadnoughts approach. They are 3,000 meters long, probably 50,000 tons each. If they hit us at full speed, they might actually damage our hull. Should we destroy them, sir? Deho asked. Hyun-Seok considered. 8 ships full of Crithian soldiers, maybe 5,000 beings per ship, 40,000 lives. He could end them with a single command. The Indomitable's weapons could vaporize those dreadnoughts before they got close. But that would make humanity just another killer, another empire that solved problems with overwhelming violence. That was not what Earth had voted for. That was not why the Indomitable had come here. No, Hyun-suk said. We give them one more chance. Communications send to the Krithian flagship. Audio only. Channel open, sir. Hyun-suk spoke clearly and calmly. Krithian Commander, this is Captain Hyun-seok. I see your dreadnoughts approaching. I understand your tactical situation. You cannot hurt us with weapons, so you hope mass will work. But it will not. If those ships ram us, they will be destroyed and we will be unharmed. 40,000 of your people will die for nothing. Pull them back. There is no shame in recognizing a superior force. The transmission ended. The dreadnoughts continued forward. No response, sir, communications reported. Then we show them, Hyun-seok said. Tactical main cannon. Plasma lance. Minimum power. Thread the needle through all 8 dreadnoughts. Aim for empty space between decks. Do not hit life support or crew quarters. Daeho looked up, eyes wide. Sir, that shot will require nanometer precision across 8 moving targets. Can our targeting computer handle it? Yes, sir. But then trust the computer. And trust your training. Take the shot. Daeho took a breath, then turned back to his console. Targeting solution calculated. Main cannon charging. Power at 15%. Plasma lance ready. Fire. The Indomitable's main weapon was mounted along the entire spine of the ship. A 15-kilometer-long magnetic acceleration chamber. When it fired, it created a beam of superheated plasma held together by magnetic fields. The result was a weapon that could punch through shields, armor, and ships like they were paper. At full power, it could destroy a planet. At 15% power, it was still devastating. The beam lanced out, brilliant white-blue light that lit up space. It struck the first dreadnought, passed through empty space between decks, and emerged from the other side. Then it hit the second dreadnought, and the third, and the fourth. All 8 ships were hit in less than 2 seconds. Direct hits, Daeho reported, his voice filled with awe. All 8 dreadnoughts have massive structural damage. Weapon systems offline, engines offline. But life support is intact. Crew quarters are intact. They are completely disabled, but everyone on board is still alive. The 8 Krithian dreadnoughts drifted in space. Holes burned through their hulls, but their crews alive. It was a display of power and precision that defied everything the Krithians understood about warfare. Hyun-seok stood. Communications send to the Krithian flagship. All frequencies. Channel open, sir. Krithian Commander, you have now seen what the UESN Indomitable can do. We have disabled 14 of your ships without killing a single crew. We could have destroyed your entire fleet, but we chose mercy. Because we are not here to conquer. We are not here to destroy. We are here to save lives. The next shot will not be so gentle. Withdraw your fleet now. The transmission ended. For a long moment, nothing happened. The Krithian fleet hung in space, broken and beaten. 47 ships and 15 were completely disabled. The rest were intact but useless. They had thrown everything at the human ship and achieved nothing. Sir, communications reported. We are receiving a transmission from the Krithian flagship. On screen. The view screen showed a Krithian admiral. His scales were dull, his eyes filled with defeat. Human Captain, I am Fleet Admiral Zormoth. We withdraw. You have proven your superiority. Wise choice, Admiral, Hyun-seok said. Retrieve your disabled ships and tend to your wounded. We will continue to the Dalveen refugees. Do not follow us, we will not. You have my word. The transmission ended. Ji-woo let out a breath. We did it. They are retreating. Yes, Hyun-seok said. Now comes the hard part. We need to find the refugees and get them to safety before the Krithians change their minds. Course to the refugees' last known location is plotted, sir, Tae-yang reported. Take us there. Full speed. The Indomitable turned and accelerated, leaving the broken Krithian fleet behind. The Dalveen refugee fleet looked like it might fall apart at any moment. 127 ships drifted through space, held together with hope and prayers. Some were cargo vessels never meant for long journeys. Others were civilian transports packed with far more beings than they were designed to carry. A few were actual warships, but they were old and damaged. 4 million Dalveen, all that remained of their species, running from an empire that had decided they did not deserve to exist, Captain. Tae-yang reported. We have reached the refugees' coordinates. Scanning now. The main view screen showed the refugee fleet. Even from a distance, it was clear they were in bad shape. Hull breaches patched with whatever materials they could find, ships leaking atmosphere, engines barely functioning. "Medical, this is the bridge," Hyun-suk said. "Prepare for mass casualties. We will need every medical team ready." Medical Officer Minseo responded immediately. "Already prepared, Captain. We have been ready since we left Earth. How many refugees?" 4 million. There was a pause. 4 million. Understood. We will do what we can. Jiwoo was studying her console. "Captain, the refugees are hailing us. Audio only. Their communication systems are damaged." "Put them through." A voice came through the speakers. It was weak, strained, but filled with desperate hope. "Unknown vessel. This is the Dalveen refugee fleet. We mean no harm. Please, we are just trying to survive. If you're Krithian, we beg for mercy." Hyun-suk felt a weight in his chest. These people had been through so much. They were expecting more pain, more death. "Dalveen Fleet, this is Captain Hyun-suk of the United Earth Space Navy Warship Indomitable. We are not Krithian. We received your distress call. We are here to help." Silence. Then the voice came back, breaking with emotion. "Earth? Humans? The stories are true? You came, we came, and we are not leaving until you are safe." Another voice joined the transmission. Older, more formal. "Human Captain, I am Elder Thelrana, leader of the Dalveen survivors. Forgive me, but we must ask, why? Why would you risk war with the Krithian Empire for us? We have nothing to offer you." It was a fair question. Hyun-suk had asked himself the same thing during the long journey here. Elder humanity has a saying, "The measure of a civilization is not how it treats its equals, but how it treats those who cannot fight back. The Krithian Empire tried to exterminate your people because you said no to them. We cannot allow that. We will not allow that. You speak of morality, but the Empire is powerful. They have thousands of ships. They had 47 ships between us and you. They do not have them anymore." Hyun-suk saw no reason to hide the truth. "We engaged the Krithian fleet." They retreated. "The path to neutral space is clear." The silence that followed was longer. When Thelrana spoke again, the disbelief was clear. "You defeated a Krithian fleet? 1 ship against 47? We disabled 15 of their ships and convinced the rest to withdraw. But this is not the time for war stories. Your people need help. Medical attention, food, repairs. We will provide what we can. Then we will escort you to neutral territory where you can find sanctuary." "Captain Hyun-seok," Thelrana said slowly, "we have traveled the galaxy for 6 months, running from death. We have asked for help from a dozen species. All of them refused. They feared Krithian retaliation. But you, humanity, you came. You fought. You risked everything. For strangers. You are not strangers, Elder. You are beings in need. That is all that matters." The transmission ended, but Hyun-seok could hear crying in the background. Tears of relief, tears of joy, tears of exhaustion finally released. "Captain," Minseo called from medical, "I am taking teams across to the refugee ships. Some of them have life support failing. We need to evacuate the worst cases to the Indomitable. Do it. Use all available shuttles. Save as many as you can." For the next 6 hours, the crew of the Indomitable worked without rest. Medical teams transferred to refugee ships and set up emergency treatment centers. Engineers helped patch hull breaches and repair failing systems. Supply officers distributed food, water, and medical supplies. The Dalveen watched in amazement as humans worked in conditions that would kill most species. Humans in spacesuits repairing hull damage in hard vacuum. Humans carrying supplies in gravity levels that should crush them. Humans working through exhaustion because lives depended on it. This was what Deathworlders could do. This was what evolution in hell had created. Beings who could survive anything and would risk everything to help others. On the bridge, Jiwoo coordinated the rescue efforts. "Captain, we have evacuated 3,000 refugees with critical medical needs. Another 5,000 are being treated on their own ships. Food and water have been distributed to all vessels. Repairs are underway on 40 ships with life support failures. Good work. How long until the fleet is ready to move? Engineering estimates another 12 hours for critical repairs. After that, we can begin the journey to neutral space. Make it happen." 3 days later, the refugee fleet was ready. The journey to neutral space would take 3 weeks. 3 weeks of slow travel with ships that could barely function, but they would make it. The Indomitable would make sure of that. Captain Hyun-suk stood on the bridge and watched the refugee fleet form up. 127 ships, 4 million beings, all heading toward hope. "Sir," communications reported, We are receiving a transmission. Long range. It is from the Krithian Empire, directly from the Imperial Council. Hyun-Suk felt tension fill the bridge. Put it through. The view screen showed a Krithian in elaborate robes. This was not a military officer. This was a politician. Captain Hyun-Suk, I am Councillor Dexthor of the Krithian Imperial Council. I bring a message from the Emperor himself. I am listening. The Empire has learned of your encounter with our fleet. We have studied the battle reports. We have analyzed the capabilities of your vessel. The Council has voted. We wish to open diplomatic relations with humanity. We propose a peace treaty and trade agreements. Hyun-Suk kept his face neutral. Interesting. A few days ago, your empire was trying to destroy us. Now you want peace. We were unaware of humanity's true strength. That was our mistake. We do not make the same mistake twice. What about the Dalveen? What about them? Will the Empire leave them alone? Allow them to settle in peace? Councillor Dexthor was quiet for a moment. The Dalveen are no longer of concern to the Empire. Consider the matter closed. Not good enough. I want it in writing. A formal treaty guaranteeing the Dalveen's safety. No more hunting them. No more attacks. Complete peace. That is a significant demand. That is my only demand. You want peace with humanity? Then show us you can change. Show us you can be better than conquerors. Another pause. Then Dexthor nodded. Very well. We will draft the treaty. It will be transmitted to Earth within 1 week. I will be waiting. And, Counselor, if the Empire breaks this treaty, if you harm the Dalveen or any other species under human protection, the Indomitable will not be the only ship that comes calling. We have 46 more just like her, and we are building more every day. The transmission ended. Jiwoo let out a breath. Do you think they will honor the treaty? I think they are terrified, Hyun-Suk said. They understand now that humanity is not weak. We are strong, but more importantly, we are willing to use that strength to protect others. That is what scares them most. Not our weapons, our morals. The journey to neutral space took 3 weeks just as predicted. 3 weeks of slow travel, watching over the refugee fleet. 3 weeks of helping, healing, and protecting. 3 weeks of showing the Dalveen that not all powerful species were cruel. When they finally reached the border of neutral space, a delegation from the Galactic Council was waiting. They had heard what happened. They had heard about the human warship that had defeated a Krithian fleet. They had heard about the rescue. The Council offered the Dalveen a new homeworld, not as good as the one they had lost, but safe, protected, a place to rebuild. Elder Thelrana came aboard the Indomitable One last time before the refugees departed. She met with Captain Hyun-Suk in his ready room. Captain, Thelrana said, my people wish to thank you. But words are not enough. You saved us, all of us. We did what anyone should do. But you were the only ones who did. Thelrana looked at the human captain with all 3 of her eyes. The galaxy will remember this. They will remember that when the Dalveen had no hope, humans came. They will remember that humanity has both power and compassion. That is rare. That is precious. Then I hope the galaxy learns from it, Hyun-Suk said. Power without compassion is tyranny. Compassion without power is just good intentions. You need both. Thelrana nodded slowly. The Dalveen will never forget. And we will tell our children, and they will tell theirs. The story of the day humanity showed the galaxy what it means to be truly civilized. After the refugees departed, the Indomitable prepared to return to Earth. But before they left, new orders came through. Captain, Jiwoo said, reading the transmission. High Command has new orders for us. There is another situation. The Vestian people are under attack by raiders. They have requested help. Hyun-Suk looked at his crew. They had been away from Earth for months. They had fought a battle. They had saved 4 million lives. They were tired, but when he looked around the bridge, he saw no hesitation. He saw determination,